Well, good morning, all of my beloved community. Thank you for being here, either in person with us or on Zoom. As always, it's wonderful to see all of you. My name is Gail Rhodes. You'll note that I am not Reverend Candace. This is the first Sunday of our new format. We will be having a presider who will also do the opening treatment, a new presider every Sunday, and a guest speaker rotating in, except for the next couple, and I'll talk about that in a minute. As always, different musicians, but it will basically be the same format, except for our beloved Reverend Dr. Candace won't be here unless she's a guest speaker. So welcome, all of you. So good to have you here. Thank you for joining in our celebration and for helping bring spirit, more spirit into our lives. So we're going to start. I'm sorry, Harvey, what?
I just had to mute Clovice because he kept...
Okay. So I am going to start with our opening treatment, and as Candace always said, I know that somewhere, either in the opening treatment, in the music, in the lesson, there is something for you. Spirit spoke to you and you listened, and that's why you're here this morning. So thank you for coming. And let's all take a deep breath. Open your heart. Open your consciousness and know that there is only one thing, and that thing is God. And it is right here, right now, with us in this center, with everyone who is joining in, and with everyone everywhere. We can never be apart from it. It is always with us, in all ways. But as we choose to court it and to bring it into better focus for each one of our lives, it expands and it fills us with the joy, the peace, the love, the wisdom, and the beauty. All of it is always ours at all times. So this morning, as we settle in and we get ready to hear inspirational words, we remember who we are. We remember what the world is. And we remember that we are that magnificent part of God. We release these words knowing that they are already acted upon, for the universe always says yes. And as we together claim it for ourselves, we say, and so it is. Oh, thank you. So our special music this morning is from a group called Rhapsodiva and Jini Reynolds that many of you know. And let me put on my glasses. Edie Morris and Nori Dolan is our group today. So Jini, unmute yourself. And you can begin.
Open mine eyes that I may see glimpses of truth thou hast for me. Open mine eyes, illumine me. Spirit divine, love of my life, I am crying, I am not dying, I am dancing, dancing along in the madness. There is no sadness, only a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? What do you do for your living? Are you forgiving, giving shelter? Follow your heart, love will find you. Truth will unbind you. Sing out a song of the soul and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Come to your life like a warrior. Nothing will bore you. You can be happy. Let in the light, it will heal you. And you can feel you. Sing out a song of the soul and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Love of my life, I am crying. I am not dying. I am dancing, dancing along in the madness. There is no sadness, only a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time.
Thank you. That was beautiful, ladies. Sorry, I dropped my mask. That was beautiful. Thank you. One of my favorite songs, and it was done really beautifully. So thank you for doing that. It is now time for our guest speaker, which is Clovice Lewis. I was going to say we all know Clovice, but you don't. We have a new person. We have a new person here today. Clovice has been with us many times. He is a professional cellist, beautiful cellist, and composer who composed his first symphony at the age of 17 and was a professor of computer music at UC Santa Barbara from 1978 to 1986. He has also been a serial entrepreneur and software designer for the past 30 years. In addition to music and technology, he has had a lifelong passion for aviation and has been a private pilot since 1987. Clovice received a Master of Divinity degree from the Star King School for the ministry in May of 2021. And is in the process of becoming a Unitarian Universalist minister. His ministry emphasizes breaking down racial class and ethnic barriers and preaching the gospel of the madness of human self-extinction. Yes.
Love you, Clovice.
So this is exciting for us. Clovice will actually be speaking 3 times in a row this Sunday. The next 2 that he will be speaking are Okay God, parts 1 and 2, that will be done in 2 consecutive Sundays. And he describes it as a let go and let God day full of disappointments and opportunities that he will be speaking to us about today. Next Sunday, he will discuss how loss and disappointment often carry gifts of clarity. So both of those sound wonderful. third topic yet to be discussed. So, Clovice, if you could unmute yourself. We're all very excited to welcome Clovice again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This statement that I wrote quite a long time ago, in two parts, as Gail was saying. So it's a little bit of a time travel for you. So here it goes. Part one. Okay, God, universe, higher power, whatever. I get it. I'm not supposed to attend my soul-numbing, beat your head against the wall, hope against all hope work today. Instead, I will write this sermon. Carol is in her office. There are two closed doors between us. She's in her universe of work on a computer, wrestling with a web page design program. She's absent when I interrupt her. Like a petulant child, she squints at her screen, so intent on the puzzle of the moment, she can barely get out an obligatory but loving when I park on the threshold to her office. It is wonderful to be married to another geek. We understand. The time is 1:38 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon, May 26th, 2009. It was just starting to get warm in my office. The window's open. So I close the blinds and turn on the 25-year-old fan that doesn't rotate. I have it blasting just so tangentially across the back of my neck, that being more tolerable than a full blast in your face. Still, there's every once in a while a slight hint of breeze that makes its way through the open blinds. I've just finished playing a shoot-'em-up computer game called Chopper that I am addicted to. I use it for stress relief between the many Herculean, impossible things I do in a day. As you rescue people from on top of buildings, machine gun, rocket, and bomb your way through enemy determined to knock you out of the sky, there is the sound of birds chirping in the background. I know it's strange, but that's what the game designers chose for most of the scenarios. Today I realized the chirping sounds of the game match perfectly with the birds outside my window. The game is put away now, but the sounds of birds, squirrels, and the rustle of leaves in the wind lingers. I was just interrupted by the mailman who came to the door with 6 letters of notification in one certified envelope from our mortgage company. Otherwise, I'm waiting for news to arrive by electronic atomies. I refer, of course, to the famous comic speech by Mercutio in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, who describes Queen Mab as a miniature creature who drives her chariot across the faces of sleeping people and compels them to experience dreams of wish fulfillment. She would also bring the plague in some occasions. Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairy's midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than the agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of tiny atomies over men's noses as they lie asleep. So I wait for what will most likely be a rejection by 3 wealthy men I have tried several times to help us out with a no-risk temporary loan so we can show money in our corporate bank account. That, in turn, will allow us to go forward with another firm that might provide my company with the funds we need. Has Queen Mab touched me with her chariot? Am I dreaming, wishing, or hoping for something in vain? It's quiet except for the hum of hard drives whirring and the happy chatter of birds outside. It is 2:13 p.m. Carol just came in to tell me a potential client has just become a real client. Yay! That is great news. It won't satisfy our mortgage company, but it's good for our cats who expect and deserve to be fed every day. I'll turn on the fan soon. Today, we all heard news that Proposition 8 was upheld by the California Supreme Court. I posted a comment about it on my Facebook page, and it's linked to my email program, which I've set to prompt me every time somebody comments about my comment. It's a little annoying that the atomies are so rampant. Reports of disappointment about Prop 8 are flying across my screen, yet I wait like a gambler for what could be a bigger disappointment for me today. That, like one potential investor, the other two will respond by saying, thanks, but no thanks to our proposed deal. I said earlier, I'm not supposed to attend my soul-numbing, beat your head against the wall, hope against all hope work today.
And I've gone to a couple of his games.
That's kind of an inside joke.
That in the soccer. Yeah.
It doesn't mean my work isn't extremely frustrating these days. That work consists exclusively of finding a job for, quote, verifiable income to satisfy the mortgage company and looking for funding for my company. The fact is, I'm not only the busiest non-paid person you will ever meet, but I am also perhaps the most stubbornly optimistic person you'll know. It's time to turn on the neck blaster. I'll take a break and come back to the optimistic person part. I'm going up to make some decaf espresso. God knows, I don't need caffeinated coffee. Back now. It's 3:05 p.m. Here's the thing. 16 years ago, my first wife left. I was living in a house about to be foreclosed. Practically the only people I talked to were creditors calling me on the phone. I spent a lot of time crying in an empty room in our house that was planned to be the baby's room. And I needed to hawk my wedding ring to feed my cat. Well, you get the picture. Kind of like a country and western song being played backwards. I was in a world of pain. Anyway, in the midst of that experience, I learned what I now call my 10 rules, which I posted on cards all around my desk. And this is rule number 1. People will do what they want to do, whether you want them to or not. Rule 2. Things will happen the way they will, whether you want them to or not. Rule 3. Do what you can do with what you've got when you've got it. The other rules have been lost over time, but the first 3, they're the most important, and they're what I live by. Disappointment, pain, resentment, frustration, they're all natural feelings. We rail against the universe because we want things to be the way we feel they should be. We want people to behave the way we want them to. We want more but expect less. Most times we find ourselves in this posture of expectation because we are even aware. It's before we're even aware that the pain we feel comes from that expectation. In fact, I believe many of us live entire lives but never fully understand that reality. Now, I consider myself lucky to have learned my 10 rules when I did. If I had not come to wrestle full-time with the loss of everything I expected my life to include when I was all of 33 years old, I think it would have taken me much longer to gain the insight that now informs and actually comforts me. Jan Denise writes a weekly newspaper column called Naked Relationships, which is represented nationally by Creator Syndicate. And her book called Innately Good, Dispelling the Myth That You're Not, identifies the ultimate fear of not being good enough as what triggers empty pursuit, escape, and addiction, as well as all negative emotions. And then invalidates the fear with the truth of innate goodness, or the love within. She wrote, anytime I'm looking to somebody else as my source. I'm coming from scarcity. I no longer am trusting God or the universe for my harvest. It's reasonable for me to have expectations based on what somebody I trust has committed to, and it's natural for me to feel disappointed when that somebody doesn't come through. But when I feel more than disappointment, when I also feel anger, it's because I deviated from my truth. It's because I compromised my truth to get what somebody else promised. Because when I'm really following my truth, I will be at peace with the consequences, whatever they are. I can accept somebody else's truth, but I must live my own truth. And sometimes that means walking away from a relationship. So being in relationship, whether with ourselves or an aspect of ourselves, such as another person, is sometimes difficult. The relationships don't always work the way you expect them to. Facing the truth that you don't really control very much, or that anyone, is a lesson that needs to be constantly repeated. Even people who really understand this can sometimes forget, and they experience pain just like the rest of us. The only thing you can control is your attitude towards what happens to and around you. This is not just a good way to understand pain and disappointment. It's actually clinically proven that a positive attitude can affect your health. It used to be thought that the mind and the immune system existed independently of each other, but research now shows that they may act as a single unit. Stress, for example, can make you more susceptible to whatever virus is going around. And on the other hand, when you feel joyous and lighthearted, your immune system has a better chance of protecting you. In a study conducted at the University of Chicago on the effect of attitude on health, 200 telecommunication executives were observed as their companies were downsized. The health of the executives who saw change as an opportunity for growth fared much better than those who saw it as a threat. Fewer than a third of the executives who had a positive attitude contracted a serious illness during or soon after the downsizing. But executives who saw downsizing as a personal threat had more than a 90% likelihood of becoming severely ill. We all know that life works in cycles. Things get worse, then they improve. Things go well or great for a time, and then they get worse. Duh! It's really just that simple. Why is it that we all know this, but then we act surprised when it happens? I learned rule number 1. People will do whatever they want to do, whether you want them to or not. On a molecular level, because my first wife gifted me with that. The pain I felt after she left was so severe. You know this. I couldn't breathe sometimes. For a time, every waking moment provided me with the opportunity of understanding that I could choose to live with that pain or I could let it go. The funny thing was, I was the only one in pain. At least, I was the one in the most pain. She, on the other hand, was liberated. I was left to hang on the cross of a relationship that didn't exist. But I kept myself there, and I nailed myself to that cross with the nails of desire and expectation, unfairness, and even self-pity. After a while, the startling realization came to me that I was the person doing the hammering. She wasn't. She didn't care. Bless her heart. It was free, and I wasn't. I remember the other rules. One of the other rules. Things are always much worse than you think they are. You just don't know it yet. The point is, I had to get off the cross. First, I had to stop hammering my own nails, And then I had to forgive my first wife. And then I had to forgive myself. After that, things were much easier for me. I started populating the empty room that was going to be our nursery with my own furniture. I didn't need to cry in there anymore. I started joking with the creditors who called that I'd gladly work at their company since they were so concerned about me paying them back. They never took me up on my offer. Look, I still had to get food stamps. I was still living in a foreclosed house without any idea of where I was going to go next. I still couldn't find a job for anything. My clients dried up. The economy was terrible. And I was too familiar with my friend, Jim Beam. But I learned not to take anything personally or to believe I'm in control of very much. I did what I could do with what I had when I got it. Rule number 3. And I worked in the way that I felt led to at any given moment. I stopped worrying about making money. And that's why at 5:13 p.m. I am not plussed that the 2 remaining wealthy men who could really make a difference in me and Carol's lives by parking money in my company's account have not yet responded. It's 5:30 p.m. Carol and I will join others to protest the court's upruling of Proposition 8. So right now, Prop 8 is withheld. Ultimately, I firmly believe prohibitions against same-sex marriage will be found unconstitutional. Things are bad, then they'll improve. Queen Mab, honestly, doesn't visit me very often. I imagine you could say I indulge in wishful thinking. Some might believe the quest to fund my company in this economy is a Don Quixote-like exercise. I've become discouraged on occasion. Sometimes even I have bouts of doubt and fear and anger. But they pass. And that's because, first of all, I am married to an amazing, supportive, wonderful woman. And second, I've been here before. I know everything is down now, but it'll turn up. That's the law of the universe. My optimism about life in general is not forced or contrived or derived from a fear of the alternative. It might actually be genetic. I don't know. But I'm happy for it. So, okay, God, universe, higher power, whatever. I get it. Whatever it is, bring it on. I'll kick its butt too. Namaste.
Start over.
Okay, thank you, Clovice. That was absolutely wonderful. I'm so looking forward to having you here 3 Sundays in a row. Would you like to do the closing treatment?
Sure.
Yay!
I have to tell you that when I was interning at the church in Tennessee, my supervising pastor said, "Clovice, look, you're doing a great job all the time, but I noticed that when it gets to the point in our service where you have to do the prayer, you really fall. It's just strange. Is it because you're an atheist? Why can't you do a prayer?" And I told him, I said, "Well, Jake, the thing is that my spirituality is so personal to me. I just feel like I'm imposing on somebody else when I say, when I talk about God or spirit or whatever. And he says, well, you know, it's what you would need to do is just replace your own words. Don't say God, just say spirit of life or whatever works for you. And Clovice, there's this way of making a prayer. And what I've noticed is that a treatment is kind of like a prayer. And if I get it wrong, just let me know, okay? But here's what I would say. That everything that happens to us is not what we think happens to us. It can either be happening for us or it can be happening because we made it happen. And we do make things happen. We make pain manifest in our lives until we find out we actually don't need to do that. We push at doors until we find out that the door is actually standing in the middle of a desert. And it's just a door and a threshold. And all you have to do is just walk around the other side of the door. The universe tells us yes all the time. We just don't listen. Sometimes I like to say that the universe will give us everything we want, everything we ask for. We just have to learn how to duck. So, everything is fine. Life is wonderful because the universe is here for us. We're part of it. The universe is inside of us. We are inside the universe. Reality is happening to us, and we are happening to reality.
Thank you, Clovice. That was perfect, by the way. I don't know what your minister was talking about. So let me check. Oh, it's time for our offering. So if you can put it up, put our offering affirmation up, we will all say it together. For those of you who are in the center, there are baskets by the door. Everyone else knows all of the means of getting your offering to us. You can use PayPal, you can write a check and mail it, or you can make the center a payee on your bill pay. Is the off? Yes, yes. So let's say together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies this gift with all my heart and with all my mind. I know that I am saying yes to something I value. With all others present here, we dedicate these gifts to the values and visions we share. And so it is. So I have a few announcements. Next week's Presider practitioner will be Jack Hall. Our soloist will be Mary Buckley, and we've already said that Clovice is coming back for part 2. Yeah, very exciting. We are still taking donations for building bridges. As you know, by now you can drop them off at Teresa's or you can take them there. There is a board meeting today after service, so stick around if you are a board member. And I think that's about it. I don't think we have any other announcements. Yes, Larry? Yay. It's your birthday? Oh, yay. Yeah.
I do.
Yes, Larry?
On the new service ministry things on
Oh,
today.
yes. There are new service ministry schedules on the table. It has already changed a tad bit, so see me before you take it back. And I will be sending them to you, Jack, and to Terry also via email. So now it's time for our closing song, and we are welcoming back Rhapsodiva. So, Jini, unmute yourself.
We are unmuted. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear us? Yes?
Okay.
That's a yes, okay. This other everybody get together. Time to love one another.